Well, hello, Ballers fans. Welcome back to episode 22 of Talking Ballers. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today, and we have a very special guest with us. Daniel Millwee's in the house, along with my man Trevor Wilt. Episode 22 coming your way right now. And we're back. Welcome again to episode 22 of the Talking Ballers podcast. I'm Jordan Cannell here with my man Trevor Wilt. Trevor, how you feeling, my friend?
Feeling good, man. Hey, we're in the championship series. My voice is, I'm feeling a lot better than my voice is feeling. I can tell you that much.
Oh, man, you've been talking.
I've been talking ballers, and I've been talking a lot. I bet you this guy to my right and across the mic from you is probably like, Trevor, I've heard your voice enough. Daniel Millwee, is that a correct statement? Have you heard my voice way too much?
Too much is an overstatement. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. I love hearing your voice. You bring the energy every day. So, I mean, you're all about the Ballers, and
oh yeah,
we're locked in. We love it.
We're locked into the Ballers, I can tell you that. One of my favorite pregame things is going over to Daniel Millwee and just screaming his name. I'm a big first and last name guy. I don't know what it is. I never call him like Daniel or Millwee. I'm like, Daniel Millwee. And
huge hand slap.
Huge hand slap, dude. We've had some good ones, dude.
There's been some good ones.
But he's an athlete, so he's got like bigger hands and he's like stronger hands, so it normally hurts me more. But before I let Jordan ask a question, what's your favorite what's your favorite thing leading up to the ball game? Like whenever you're in the dugout getting ready for the ball game to start, do you have like a favorite thing that you look forward to every single time?
Yeah, I think it's once the position players, they're out on the field, they're warming up, they're doing their stretching, then they circle up for the prayer. I'm usually right there at the bottom of the steps, welcoming the guys in the dugout, getting them fired up. And it's something I've done every single game this year, and I absolutely love doing it. Just seeing the boys excited to play and compete, and getting ready to go out there with them and try to help them win a ball game.
I love that, man. I think one of the things that people don't know about you, or that maybe aren't as maybe this is their first year actually following the Cannonballers, was that, man, you were one of the originals on the original squad.
OG.
Yeah.
I was on the original squad.
Yeah, man. And you went through the desert with the Cannonballers.
I sure did.
I think that's the lightest way to say that.
Yeah, dude.
How many games did we win?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Total, I can't remember, but
was it like 20 or 15?
Was it that many?
If it was that many, I'd be surprised. Oh. Honestly.
Guys, it was bad.
It was maybe, and I won't even say maybe, it was the toughest year of baseball I've ever had in my life. And that's just a fact. It's just the way it is. It was just,
I mean, that's understandable.
Just that kind of year.
Especially being a new franchise, moving into a new stadium. Yeah. There's all the hype around that. Honestly, the new stadium probably was what was our lifesaver. Imagine a team like that playing at the old stadium.
We would have had 15 and a half people there.
Yeah.
I don't know where that other half would have came from, but I'm telling you, if we were at the old stadium, Jordan, no one would have showed up. And it was so promising that year. Like you said, everything was bright and shiny and new. The brand new jerseys.
Yeah.
We had, I think, what was it, 8 of the top 30 prospects on the team?
Yeah, there was
where
a good
we had
amount.
It was like Andrew Dahlquist, Matt Thompson, Jared Kelly, and those are like the three-headed monster. We're like, oh yeah, here we go, boys. Yeah. And then we found out that high school baseball sometimes doesn't translate right away to being a very high success at the major league or at the professional level. But for you, man, you're a North Carolina boy. Was it cool playing in North Carolina?
So much fun. I mean, my parents live an hour up the road, so having them there, regardless of whether we were winning games or not, just to have their support there in the stands, they're every step of the way. But yeah, I mean, I love being home. I love being back in my home state, and I love Carolina, man. It's the best.
Yeah, he's a North Carolina boy, right? Yeah. So born and raised right outside of Greensboro, and then ended up going to High Point. Yep. And then now you're coaching in this organization, which most of the teams are here in the greater Charlotte area. For you, has this been like a dream come? Or I'm guessing you're just a homebody, right? You love North Carolina.
I love North Carolina. Yeah. I love it. I mean, the beaches, the mountains, the cities, the rural, all of it. It's just the culture, the people. I think the people are probably my favorite part of this amazing state. Just you're gonna find some of the best people you know. The food is just incredible. I mean, you just
hey man, the barbecue, baby.
You can't go wrong.
So like, I know you're like kind of more central North Carolina, anyways. Like born and raised, so like you kind of have the option to choose Eastern or Western North Carolina barbecue.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, like I'm the type of person where I don't necessarily judge anyone by their barbecue preferences, but what would be your top choice, Eastern or Western?
You know, that's really tough because I appreciate
I
appreciate all barbecue.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good answer.
Whether it's North Carolina, Texas, you know, it doesn't matter. Georgia, like I just appreciate the art.
It is an art.
It's amazing. You know, just the process it takes to create this amazing burst of flavor. You know, it's just. But if I really had to pick, I would probably have to say Western.
Man,
and it's not a knock on Eastern North Carolina barbecue.
For sure.
It's just it's different.
It is.
But I love it. But if I had to pick, I would probably say Western.
So like Western North Carolina, big Western North Carolina barbecue place is Lexington.
Right.
You a big Lexington barbecue guy?
I am, and I haven't really gone as much as you would think.
Sure.
It's been
because you grew up like probably like closer to 30 to 45 minutes from there.
Yeah, it probably takes me about 45 minutes to get down there.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is a little bit of a hike if I'm
It
just going to go get lunch. But have I done it? Absolutely.
That's a good way to do it, man. That's a good way to do it. But, again, we're excited to have you on the pod again. We met and we talked to you technically on the pod, the live pod after
the clinch cast.
Whenever we clinched the first half championship, we had you on, and we were actually at a barbecue place. We're at the Towel City Tavern where they have incredible barbecue. So that was cool. But again, we're glad to have you in for this one, and it's a special one because we're going to talk about the championship series, which we have not been able to talk about with literally anybody except for ourselves. Just this past week, we did our little playoff pod, and again, excited to talk about that. But before we get to that, again, so we went to High Point, and then you ended up starting your career with the Chicago White Sox. Walk us through that emotions, because in High Point, again, they're known for having a beautiful campus, and they're known for having really smart kids.
Yes.
Baseball, it's been kind of up and down. Look, basketball, they've had some really highs as of late as well.
Yep.
But maybe not known exactly for their athletics. But for you, what was that whole process like, becoming a Chicago White Sox? What did that mean to you?
It meant the world. I mean, it was just realizing that a childhood dream is coming true, you know? And it was actually pretty crazy looking back on it now. That was the last year of the 40-round draft.
Wow.
It was. Very true.
And so I was selected in the 30th round as a fifth-year senior.
Wow. Just
hoping for an opportunity, you know. And once the college season ended, you know, I really wasn't sure where I stood with that. I had, you know, heard from a few teams and had been in contact with a few teams, but there was no guarantee whether I was going to get selected or not, you know. And I was just hoping for a chance and an opportunity, and you know, the White Sox called me. It was actually, I think that it might have been on my dad's birthday, which is really cool, June 8th.
Happy birthday, Dad!
Yeah.
So that was really special. You know, just getting, you know, the feedback from friends and family, just, you know, the support, congratulating me. It was just an amazing moment, being able to share that with my family. And they're like, well, you know, we're going to get you on a plane on Friday. And it was Wednesday. And they're like, we're getting you on a plane Friday to send you to Arizona. I was like, oh, man, like, I don't even know what to pack, you know. Like, I know I got to bring my baseball stuff, but, you know, do I got to bring, you know, how much clothes do I need to bring?
What's the weather like in Arizona?
Sure. Well, I know what the weather's like. It's
hot and hot.
It's, oof. Yeah, we'll save that for another day. But yeah, and then, you know, I got out there and got to the hotel, and Tyson Messer was my roommate.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know he was your roommate. We were just talking about him right before we jumped on.
As soon as we got to the hotel,
did they pick your roommates?
We walked into the same room together. Yeah.
So they picked him for you.
They picked him.
And he's a North Carolina boy too.
He is.
He's a huge Carolina. He would wear his like Cam Newton jersey after after pitching on a Sunday. Like, I'm gonna go have a couple beers and go watch some football. Like, amen to that, Tyson.
And so, Yeah, but no, just getting drafted was an amazing moment, and spent my first season in rookie ball in Arizona, learning how to be a professional. And I always tried to carry myself in a way of, being a professional anyways, just as a person.
I feel like it probably wouldn't have been that probably wasn't the thing that you were like worried about the most, is becoming a professional, right? Especially after a fifth-year guy. Right.
But being professional baseball, it's so competitive. Yeah. And, you put so much pressure on yourself as a player because, it's like, okay, I achieved my dream, my goal of getting drafted, but now that I'm here, like, the work's not done. I'm trying to become a major league player. Yeah. So trying to figure out the daily routine and everything that works for you. And when I say, learning how to be a professional, I think that's what I'm talking about most is, what am I going to do in my cage work? How am I going to operate in the weight room? How am I going to structure my day? What am I going to do when I'm, not on the field? Like all of those things, figuring that out. And I've learned so much over my last, I guess, 6 years in professional baseball, which is crazy to say.
That is crazy. It makes you seem old right there.
Good grief. I mean, it's insane. Time flies, but no, it's been an amazing journey. And I wouldn't have it any other way, and I'm lucky to be here with you guys today. So thanks for having me.
Come on, bro. It's funny, when you used to play for us that season up in the press box, I think I told you this last time we had the little saying with Daniel's name, like, "Millwee win? Yes, we will."
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We got a lot of weird sayings up there.
We had to have something because we were so bad.
Yeah, it was bad. So, walk us through that first year, man. So, you come to K-Town in 2021 to get brand new, and, it was tough. Like, coming to the ballpark every day as a baller, it had been tough.
Not only was it tough on the field, but it was also right after COVID, and we were still wearing masks, and we were still going through all the protocol.
Oh, you were getting tested?
Tested weekly, twice weekly with the spit test. And at one point, I think it was Kevin Fullman, myself, and Brennan Jenkins, I think, the three of us, all came down with like a stomach sickness during a game one day. And they're like, "You guys need to leave now," and like all this stuff. And so we had to quarantine for like 3 days. We had to go get tested on our own.
Did you leave the game, or did you leave right after?
They made us leave the game.
Crazy.
And so we, it was just, and it wasn't COVID. It was just, maybe something we ate, but it affected a few of us. But it was a crazy season with all the protocols and all the stuff already with COVID and the masks, and, we couldn't eat indoors, and it was already crazy enough with that.
We couldn't eat indoors.
It was it was absurd. And then obviously on the field, it was rough. I mean, I remember that first week. We didn't win a game at home that first week. We went 0-6, and I remember just walking away from that week like, man, like, this is only the first week of the season. Like, this is crazy. We haven't won a game yet, and like, is the other team that much better than us? Like, we didn't really know. And
true.
The season had started a month later than it normally would have, because spring training was pushed back a month, and
right.
Gosh, there was just so much that happened that year. It was a crazy year. I mean, like I said, obviously I had bounced up to Winston-Salem for 3 weeks, and then came down, and then suffered a concussion, and that put me down for about a month, and then came back and a knee injury, and it was a crazy year.
It was a lot.
That's the only way to describe it, is that it was just a crazy year.
Was Pat Leland, wasn't he the bench coach then?
He was the bench coach, yeah. Pat Leland was the bench coach.
I didn't even think about the full circle moment until right now, Jay, is that like, he was the bench coach whenever you're going through your struggles.
Yeah.
You were a player.
Yep.
And then now you're the bench coach for the Kannapolis Cannonballers. And then now he's a skipper, and now we're going to the championship. So you and Pat have literally gone through it all together.
We have, and Pat and I are really close. We have a great relationship. He's the absolute best. I love that guy. He's
grown. We love him. Now we do. So I had a bad run-in with him back in 2018 whenever he was the bench coach for the Del Mar Shorebirds. He said a few words to me, and I said a few words back to him after a game about a couple calls, and we did not like each other. And then whenever I saw him again, he's like, He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, you're the guy. I'm like, I'm still here.
Oh,
and he's
man.
like, we'll make amends. And I saw him as a bench coach. I didn't like him. And I've told this to us. I didn't like him. And then it took me a while to grow, but he's grown so much as a man, as a fiance, of course, right?
Yep.
But as a man, as just a coach, as a manager, as a human, I feel like he's grown even since 2021.
No, he really has. And, I mean, just the way he carries himself on a daily basis, I mean, he is professional as it gets. He shows up, and he's the same guy every single day. He has a consistent message with the guys every day. And I think the thing I love about him the most is not only how much he cares about the players, but how much he listens to the players. And, you know, in professional baseball, especially at the minor league level, like there's always something coming from the front office or
Correct.
the people above us saying, you know, you need to do this week, there's a lot going on with the scheduling, especially with practice, you know, and the majority of the season's in the middle of the summer and it's so hot, you know, and the more time you spend out on the field, like the guys get worn down. And so he's been so great about asking the players about how they're feeling, you know, and maybe mixing in an extra cage day here and there, you know, just to keep the guys healthy and on the field. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, is keeping the guys healthy on the field. Because if they're not on the field, they can't perform. And he really takes that to heart. He cares about the players so much. And he's hands down. He's just a great man and a great manager as well.
I think it's been a really cool ride this season, just kind of watching – you know, coming out of the gate this year, had a really great squad. As Jacob Burke, one of our guys from last year, would like to say, squad's looking great. You know,
squad's looking great.
You remember it was that post game interview he did with you, and you're like, Jacob, how are you feeling, man? He's like, squad's looking great. You know,
he is such a good. There's not a lot going on upstairs. And,
man,
we had some things. We had some Jacob Burke things like Burke hit ball. Burke smash.
Burke smash. Yeah.
Burke hit ball far. You said that over the PA one time. I was like, no, he did not just say that.
Burke hit ball far.
That's great.
Like,
Burke hungry.
Jordan just made fun of him in front of 3,000 people right to his face, and Jacob probably had no clue. He's like, dude, he said I hit the ball far.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's how it was, Jacob.
Oh, man.
Good thing you're handsome, buddy.
But, you know, like, honestly, like, we had this first half was like, I mean, just a magical team to watch. It was so much fun from a fan's perspective, but then also like being in the press box and someone that, you know, is a contract worker for the team, like watching for the first time since we've been the Cannonballers, a team that's like, man, this is really fun.
Right.
And from like top to the bottom of the lineup, people are hitting. You didn't know like from what day to what day who was going to be making like the money moves for the team in the batting order. Like some days it's going to be the middle of the order, other days it's bottom of the order, other days it's top of the order. Like, and then some days it's everybody. That one game we won like 21-3.
Yeah, I think we all wanted the game to be ended in the sixth inning. Though I'll be honest with you,
we were all just like, all right guys, just swing at everything. Come on, like.
And we were, and then we kept hitting. We're like, gosh, this is awesome.
And that's the thing is like hitting is contagious.
It is.
You know, and when the guys get rolling and they're confident and. It's how it goes. And we had a lot of games where, you know, we went up early in the first inning, a couple runs, and it was like once we did that with our starting pitching that we had, I mean,
dude, it was so
it was like an automatic win almost. Like I don't want to say it because nothing's automatic.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bro.
That's the way it felt.
It really was.
That's really the way it felt.
I mean, with Keener, Batista, and
Lucas
Gordon, man, we called him the Towel City Triumvirate. One of our press box guys came up with that name, and he's our pitch clock guy. His name's Chris, and man, he nailed it. Like they really are a triumvirate, and it's like a group of like three nations essentially that rule over every. And so they were those three guys. I mean, we knew when those guys were on the bump, we had a really good shot of taking 3 games out of at least every series.
Absolutely,
which is crazy.
Yeah, and then you combine that with we started hitting the ball.
Yeah,
and that's like. That was fun, man.
That was fun.
I get like goosebumps thinking about how much fun it was to watch that. But for you this season as a bench coach, what's probably like your favorite memory outside of playoffs? We can talk about playoffs, but like outside of playoffs this year, Like, what's been like one of your favorite things that you remember this season?
And you cannot say you getting engaged in Charleston. we won't talk about that just yet.
Man, that's a good question. I want to say it may have been like the last 2 weeks of the first half when we were on that 2-week road trip in Fredericksburg and then Delmarva.
Yeah.
We had a pretty I think at the time before we left to Fredericksburg, I think our lead may have been like 2.5. It wasn't anything that crazy, and we knew that we were going to be running into a Fredericksburg team who's really good. Obviously, we're playing them now in the championship.
Yeah.
But at the time, the record was really good. I think they were towards the top of the league battling with Carolina. And,
yeah.
We went in there and took 5 out of 6.
Yeah.
And they threw Josiah Gray on Sunday in a rehab start. And Matt Hogan had 2 homers, and
yeah,
we were crushing, and so we won 5 of 6, and at that point we had given ourselves, a pretty solid lead in the first half. I think we went up maybe 4.5 or 5.5 games, and going to Delmarva, like, they're just one of those teams that, even though the record doesn't look good, they have guys that if they get hot, they can really do some damage.
Yeah.
They had good pitching as well. They had some really good starting pitching. I mean, it's the Orioles, they have a really good organization. And we found a way to split the series and win that game on Sunday, and then on the bus ride home, watching that game between Columbia and Myrtle Beach Myrtle Beach, and they went extra innings, and Columbia took the lead, and then Myrtle Beach came and walked it off, and right then we knew it was over, and we started celebrating on the bus, and we pulled over at the closest gas station to us, and we all celebrated as a team outside. Everyone went in and bought some champagne or some beer or whatever, and we were it was just an unbelievable moment. I think aside from obviously being here in the playoffs now, I think that 2-week stretch really defined, like, okay, this is what this team's about.
Yeah.
On the road, 2 tough weeks. We found a way to grind it out. We made it happen. And now we find ourselves in the championship. We lost the first game, but we're going on the road. And that's the thing is, like, this team, I honestly feel like we feel more comfortable on the road. As weird as that sounds.
That's
like, we're
wild.
it's just a group of guys that's gritty.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy being in front of the opposition, and that's how I was as a player too. I loved being on the road. You hit a double, the crowd goes silent. And I'm just like, man, like, this is a great feeling, being able to quiet that home crowd.
Heck yeah.
So I feel really good about our chances going into these next few days. But aside from that, like, I think that 2-week stretch was kind of our defining moment.
That's a really interesting and cool perspective too. Because when you think about, you hear a lot of major league players talking about, because 2-week road stints are big in the major leagues. It happen a lot. A lot of times, especially like if you're doing like a West Coast and you're an East Coast team, you're going to be on the road for a week to week and a half at a time. And so it's cool that it happened for our guys in low A.
Right.
Because it doesn't happen a lot. Like, we don't have a lot of back-to-back away. And it just so happened we had it twice this year.
Right.
Which is not normal. That doesn't normally happen. And for them to actually, like, I feel like what I heard you kind of saying there was, like, the team figured out a lot who they are. They found their identity.
Yep. Backs were against
the
wall.
And
man,
that's cool. That's really cool.
No, it was really cool.
And it was just fun just watching this team, because we've noticed it up top. I know you guys have definitely noticed it too. The different teams that we have had this season. Mm-hmm. And again, over the past few years, I know there's tons of moves all the time, but we saw, like, at the very beginning, it was a college-heavy veteran group of guys that dominated. Of course, you still had some Latin guys mixed in there that we used all the time that were playing with us, but not a lot of high school guys. And then we won the championship. They all get promoted. Then we have a bunch of and then we get an influx of Latin players that are here.
Yep.
Where we were talking to George Wilco. He goes, guys, And Jordan's like, dude, you were the only American in the starting lineup. He goes, I know. He goes, I noticed that whenever they were saying everyone. He goes, oh my gosh, I'm the only American.
Yep.
And so like that happened.
And it happened really quick.
Yeah,
it was like you snapped your fingers and it was like,
where did the team go?
Wow, gone. Yeah, they're gone.
Everyone left, and then like whether that's injuries or going to AA or going to AAA or going just to high or getting released, whatever that may be. And then the draft happened, and then we're like, all right, we got a few more American guys. Again, this is not a knock on any like Latin players out there for us. Like Wilber Sanchez has done so much. Gerald Perez, Ryan Burrows has been with us the entire season at shortstop. So many great guys. And then whenever we got the experienced guys coming in from the draft, like, all right, we got some Tennessee guys, we got Arkansas, we got LSU, we got all these
Miss,
guys,
Alabama,
and then we're like, all right, here we go. Now we're getting back to it. But I'm not saying we called it, but just from the outside looking in, we're like, dude, once these guys feel the cannonballer way of what Pat Leland has instilled, it's going to take them like a month to get used to it. And by God, it took about 1 month, about 3 weeks for them to feel it. And the next thing you know, they turned it on, and we weren't winning every game, but dude, we were stinking competing.
That's right. And the tough thing about that too is the new draft guys, when they came in, they met us on the road in Colombia, so they
that's the worst.
They hadn't even played here in Kannapolis yet, so they're starting their professional baseball career, affiliated baseball career on the road. Plus, it was the week of the hurricane. So we didn't even travel on Tuesday. They just completely suspended the game Tuesday. So we then travel Wednesday. So to think, like, from where they've started on the road in Colombia, I mean, when I tell you there was about 10 people in the stands on a Wednesday night, I mean it. It was
really.
It was like we were playing on the backfields in Arizona at spring training.
Yeah.
And even some of the new guys had even mentioned that to me, like, man, like, this isn't what we envisioned professional baseball being like. And I was like, trust me, it's not like this. This is just a crazy circumstance. But you're right. I mean, our team has changed so much, but the guys we have now, what a group. I mean, it's just an unbelievable group. These guys, the way the new guys were able to mesh with the guys that have been here all year, or the guys that have been here for a while, most of the year, it's been really amazing to watch and be a part of. And I'm extremely proud of how far we've made it. There were so many unanswered questions. I think I was talking with Blake Hickman. I think he said we've lost 14 pitchers.
Wow.
Which, you think about it, that is an entire pitching staff
Yeah.
gone. The entire pitching staff gone.
Yeah.
So, and it speaks volumes to some of the guys that we've had in Arizona that have worked their way up here and made themselves a factor.
Yeah.
It's been a really, really cool thing to be a part of.
Do you think this has made, whenever we chat about George Wilco and Ryan Burrows and the guys that have been here all season long, and even Jake Peppers, of course they're going to go through their highs and lows. I feel like, and again, I want you to speak on, I feel like this has made them better ball players because they're still young, right? And everyone thinks of George Wilco. He looks like he's 35 years old, right? He's got 4 kids, but he's just turned 18 years old.
Yep.
6'7", big old guy, but he's going to go through his struggles. And same thing with Ryan Burrows. But watching them, and even Gerald Perez, we've seen them just like look more confident as soon as they left. We talked to George Wilco on the podcast. He's like, it's down in the dugout. He goes, it's not as fun. He goes, he misses Wangan, Jordan's favorite player. He's like, I miss Wilber Sanchez. I miss Riku and all these guys. He's like, he goes, we were going freaking nuts before every game. He goes, and then now we're just like, all right, game's about to start. But then you're like, all right, well, you got to step up. Now I feel like you're seeing Ryan Burrows step up, George Wilco, Gerald Perez, even a new guy from the Dodgers. And I feel like it's making them better on top of this whole mesh thing.
100%. And, the good teams, like, somebody always has to be that guy to step up. Yeah. There has to be somebody. And I think the cool part about this season and what we've preached is, mostly even from an offensive side and even from a pitching side, is like, if you come in, and you have an opportunity to do something and you can't get it done, it's the guys behind you responsibility to be that guy to step up and get the job done, to pick up your teammate, and it's baseball, it's so unpredictable. It's such a hard game, and there's so much, mental energy that goes into competing in a 9-inning game, especially in the playoffs, where execution is at an all-time high. If you don't execute in the playoffs, you're not going to win the game, and that's just the way it is. And we've seen, we've played now, 4 games now of playoff baseball, and seeing different guys step up on a nightly basis, whether we win or lose the ball game.
Right.
It's like there's somebody that has stepped up every single game to be a guy to put us within a run or to tie the game or make a great play in the field, and it's just, everything is magnified on the playoff stage, and these guys have handled it really well. And it's like you said, the young guys like George Wolko, like such a young, talented player, has just so much adrenaline flowing, right? Like, and just in the moment in the dugout, having that second where he's grabbing some water and say, "Hey, George, let's take a deep breath. It's okay.
Stay within yourself. Don't try to do too much. Stick with the process." Then he goes out there and rips an RBI double, and it's it's so cool to see that, and it's so exciting, seeing a guy like him with so much talent at such a young age. It's like, this guy is the future of our game. This guy has a chance to be an impact player in the major leagues for a long time. And he's so young, and just seeing his development daily has been really impressive. But it's not just him, Ryan and Haral and even Ronnie and Luis Pineda and
Jake Peppers as
Jake
the
Peppers,
only
the only starter that's been here
around
all year.
And dude,
and to have him on the mound in Game 3 of the division round against Charleston, and he was lights out.
He was fired. I felt like we were watching Game 7 of the World Series. Jordan was going freaking it was nuts.
That game, oh my gosh, we've all talked about that. Even Charlie Romero, this guy's been in professional baseball for over 30 years. He said he has never been a part of a game like that in his entire career.
Wow. What?
That was just an unbelievable game.
Yeah.
Scoreless through 10.
Yeah. That's crazy.
With the season on the line, a berth to the championship.
All the stuff that was going, the chirping that was going on.
Chirpy.
Yeah. Oh, because of the whole baller. Yeah.
Gosh, that was fun.
Well, even like I wasn't there in person Friday, and so I was watching on my phone. My wife and I were out to dinner with some friends, and I'm like, I looked at her and I was like, babe, they're still tied. And they're scoreless in the 9th.
Yep.
And I'm like, what is happening? So, like, there's a conversation happening with all of, like, some of our friends, and I'm just, like, glued to my phone.
Locked in.
And then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is nuts, man. And then we go down, and then we score 2, and we walk it off, and I'm like, you're kidding me right now.
Just unbelievable.
And it was my guy, freaking TJ.
He loved TJ. As soon as TJ got here, he goes, I don't know what it is about him, Trev. He goes, I like this TJ McCants guy. He said,
I do. I like him, and I like the way he plays. I feel like he's got, like, a really, really sweet swing.
It is.
Like,
doesn't try to do too much.
No. Like with George. George has a hole in his swing right now.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. He's young. TJ, though, he's a 5-year college guy.
Polished, yeah.
4 big seasons in the SEC at Ole Miss and at Alabama with 1 big season there. He comes in, and he goes to the plate, and you can see him, like, thinking through things. Like, he's not lost at all.
Yeah.
Like, I think some of my favorite base hits of his have been when he just goes with the ball, takes it to, left
right
field.
Right shortstop's head. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. We kind of compared, like, his approach. Again, I'm a huge Braves fan, so I like to say a lot of things like the Freddie Freeman, like just a good swinging lefty that doesn't try to do too much with it, just wants to hit a line. He's got good contact off the bat. If he gets something over the plate, he can pull it if he wants to. But, dude, he's just everywhere, like where the ball's hit.
Yeah.
Again,
and even his home runs have been Oppo Tacos.
Yeah, Oppo Taco.
Yeah. It's like, there it goes.
He's just a good ball player, and again, I hate that he wasn't able to play in Game 1 with a little flare-up, but yeah, like him and Alec Makarevich, I know he went through, that 15, 16-game hitting streak, and now he's dipping down, but, I mean, it's baseball, right?
Yeah, it's baseball.
That's how baseball will humble you in 2 seconds.
And I feel like, too, George, I love you so much, bro. You don't have a hole in your swing. I just want to say
Don't say that to his face,
because
okay?
I know he's actually one of the guys on the team that actually listens.
Yeah,
You know?
That's a good point. He does listen. Yeah, he listens to the pod.
And I was like,
yeah.
No, George, you don't have a hole in your swing, bro. You keep doing you, George. You know?
But no, it's cool that you're noticing all that. So as now a bench coach, right? So again, end up retiring based on that 2022 season after another concussion, another little knee injury, and then last year as a kind of like a player coach.
Yep.
Last time I thought about that was like Manny Ramirez. Didn't he do that? I think he did that for a little bit too. Anyways,
Babe Ruth did it.
Babe Ruth, yeah, exactly. And so
comparing me to Babe Ruth?
Yeah,
That's
dude,
crazy.
Come on.
That's crazy.
Have you ever been compared to Babe Ruth before?
No.
There we go.
The great Bambino and
Great-
Daniel Millwee.
Never.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna redo Sandlot and put you in it.
Let's go.
But yeah, so we're gonna have a signed Daniel Millwee ball.
Yes.
But anyway, so we go through that. So last year, again, get a little bit of taste of being a bench coach or being a coach, first base coach, and / a player, and then this year, full time, first year as a bench coach. For you, game preparation. How crazy is the game of baseball on this side of the baseball now as being a coach?
I think the biggest difference is like I'm on the field, but I don't really have an impact on the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
makes sense.
I do in a term of, you know, whether I'm going to send a guy to second, if
Yell
I'm
him to
telling
get
him he's
back or
stealing,
whatever. Yeah.
stuff like that. But as far as like actually, you know, touching or hitting or catching the baseball, like
Yeah.
I don't get to do that.
Yeah.
So it's hard not. I think that was the biggest adjustment is feeling like I don't have any control over what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's solely on the players, but it just came down to learning and trusting that all the time we spend in the preparation, you know, and we just get to let them go out there during the game and do their thing. And, you know, just in the back of my mind having to remember, like, this is A-ball, you know, like these guys are so young, they're learning, you know, they have so much more baseball ahead of them. And, like, this is the foundation of where their career starts, you know, and there's no more advanced rookie ball. There's no more Pioneer League, you know, that's now indie ball. So guys are jumping straight from the complex into low A baseball. And it's been a big adjustment, you know, because maybe instead of, you know, some of these younger high school kids having to jump straight into it and maybe getting overwhelmed and, you know, and our guys have handled it really well this year. So I'm not necessarily talking about any of our guys in particular, but just in general with high school kids never playing in a professional environment in front of thousands of fans nightly, you know, your wheels can get spinning a little bit, and when you start to struggle, it can really snowball and it can, you know, really take a dip on you. So trying to keep these guys, you know, locked in on a daily basis, saying, you know what, regardless of what happened yesterday, it's over with. You can't change it.
Yeah.
What you do today and how you prepare yourself for today's game is what's going to affect your performance today. And just keeping that mindset that just being consistent as a player with your routine, the way you treat your teammates, the way you go about your business, all of that. Aside from being a baseball player, like all of these things, because at the end of the day, these guys are men. They have lives too.
Yeah.
They're not just baseball players. So, you know, trying to make an impact both on and off the field with them, it's been a lot of fun. And these guys have all been really receptive, and they've just been an absolute pleasure to have and be around this year. But yeah, I'll say, like, as a bench coach, like, I have to be consistent. I got to be the same person every day. Because the players, they always feed off the energy of the coaches.
100%.
So if the coaches are walking in and, you know, they're not feeling it that day, then what are the players going to do?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
They're going to be the ones hopefully yelling, you know, not yelling, but, you know, maybe getting on you. You're like, you know, what's going on today, you know? And, like, we're always doing that to them. So it's like we got to eliminate that.
Yeah.
And just be the same person every day, show up. You know, I'm so excited to show up to the ballpark every day. I
Get your workout. He gets his workout in right away. You take your shoes off. You do your thing, right?
Yeah, do my thing and get mentally prepared. And when the guys show up, make myself available and, you know, just help these guys get better and improve every day.
What's one of your favorite things to do as a first first base coach? Like whispering in the ears of the guys, "Hey, you're going on this," or
"Hey,
make sure." Like, what's one of your favorite things to do over there?
I love when I got the stopwatch. I'm getting the time on the pitcher. If we got a guy on first, I know can steal a base, and I know he's gonna make it. And I tell him like, come on, let's go this pitch, you know. And then they steal and they make it. Like that for me is
that feels good.
That's the best. It's just like, man, like swiping that bag, getting in scoring position for the guy that's at the plate, you know, and with a chance to drive in a run, you know, it's cool kind of having that impact. Or, you know, maybe there's a ball, you know, hit to the outfield off the bat, but kind of dicey. Maybe keep it a single, or maybe you can try to stretch it to a double and, you know, telling him let's go, and he goes and makes it, or maybe he doesn't. But you know, it's just the adrenaline rush of that instant. Yeah, you know, and it's fun. It's fun.
What about? Did you think George's home run ball? Did you think it was going out the other night? Whenever we hit the lights early, were you at that game?
Dude, I freaking did the baller bomb call.
Yes, you did. And then I was, so we all thought it was gone, right? I was right behind the dugout. We were getting ready for whatever promo, Ducks in the Pants or whatever, and it all happened. He was doing it, and then I see the umpire like doing like the whole save thing, and I'm yelling on my radio, Trace, cut the lights! Trace, cut the lights! Trace, cut the lights! He's like, yeah. I'm like, no, stop! I was like, no. Did you?
So off the bat, I thought that ball was going over the right field bar.
Everyone did.
I thought that stadium didn't have a chance. I didn't think any stadium in America had a chance to hold that baseball.
Yeah.
So initially, right off the bat, I put my hand up and I'm pointing. I watched the ball get about halfway, and I turn around. I see George. He's
going nuts.
Backflip. He's going nuts. I dap him up around in first, and then the lights are going off, and I'm like, awesome, let's go, home run, you know, whatever. And then next thing you know, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
People are yelling and screaming, and the players are like telling the umpires the ball didn't go out. Then they're mad about the lights going off.
On the replay, bro, so it was literally this much under the yellow line.
George basically showing Daniel Millwee right now about 2 inches. Yeah. I mean, literally, it was 2 inches from going out.
He hit it to the deepest part you could hit it in the ballpark. Like Triple's Alley out there, like right where it curves back is where he hit.
So for any of the analytic junkies out there, he hit that ball at 108 miles an hour at 25-degree launch angle. When I tell you that not a ballpark in America should hold that ball in, I mean it. And it did not leave the yard, and I was shocked.
I didn't even know those stats.
It's just because of where he hit it. Because our stadium is one of those that has that weird, kind of like San Francisco, where that kind of bumps
a little kick
back.
out, yeah.
For like 5 feet.
Yeah, and it bumps back, and the wall gets taller.
I bet you it went like 408 feet.
I don't even know, but
I bet you it did. It
had
was
to go over 400. I was surprised it didn't leave the yard. But George, great swing.
Everybody was surprised. I mean, we didn't even think to check. Yeah, because we're like, there's no way that's not gone.
Absolutely insane.
And so my thing is, when the person touches first, I hold baller till they get to second.
I freaking love it. I've had a fan, as soon as you did it, it was one of the past couple weeks. They're like, how long does I was like, every single time he touches first base. And because sometimes it takes you 10 seconds, sometimes it's just 5 or 7.
How slow the guy's running.
Yeah, and I freaking love it. Yeah, it is cool whenever you do it. It gets me fired up.
And so I'm like, I didn't look for the signal. I just saw George going crazy.
Dude, he threw the bat, was screaming at the team.
Yeah. He threw the bat, and I was like, oh my gosh.
No, but honestly, none of us up there even look. The sound of it. How hard it was hit.
Sound like a shotgun.
Yeah.
It was, It was
my wife was in the right field bar, and she said as soon as it got hit, everyone stood to their feet. They're like, get ready. Everyone was screaming at this one couple. They're like, yeah. And then the couple like didn't catch it, and of course it hit the fence.
Oh, man.
It was crazy.
That genuinely is one of those things where I agree with you. There's no ballpark in the country that's going to hold that ball.
It was crazy, but
it just so happens that we have that weird cutout out there.
Yeah, and we were thinking too, maybe he happened to top spin it just a little bit, just a little something to keep it in the ballpark,
just to kind of keep everybody on their edge.
Well, it felt good to him because he was like,
heck yeah,
he gets like pumped anyways.
Oh yeah,
but he was like extra because there's playoffs.
Of course,
it was a playoff atmosphere. at bat. And just, all right, so walk us through. Again, we got another about 5-10 minutes with you before you have to go get some early work in with the boys before y'all jump on the bus. What, 4 or 5 o'clock y'all leaving today?
We're leaving. The bus at 4 o'clock, should get us in around 9 tonight. So.
There we go. Again, heading up there to Fredericksburg, Virginia, just south of D.C.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know a few of us in the front office, we're heading up tomorrow around 11 o'clock. We're going to make Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully the weather holds off. I know we're getting some tropical storm right now.
Dude.
But
I was looking at the weather today just for that same purpose.
Yeah.
There's 7 possible storms coming from 2 different directions that are going to hit the East Coast.
Yeah.
All coming there's 2 coming from the Gulf, and there's 5 that are forming out in the Atlantic right now. And really? I'm like, are we serious?
Yeah,
they all just decide to come during low A playoff week? What the world?
It's just that time of year. I feel like this is when things really start to flare up out there, weather-wise. So, I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. And it's that air pressure because it's starting to get cooler here.
Starting to get cool.
And it's getting cooler here sooner. Because usually, my birthday's September 9th, so I'm always it's always hot around my birthday.
Yeah.
But it's been wonderful up here.
Oh, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, the mornings have been perfect. Waking up and getting after it in the mornings. But
so good.
Talk to me about this playoff atmosphere here in K-Town. I know it's been a lot of fun for you guys. Again, going on the road, getting that dub down there in Chucktown. I know about 75 to 100 Cannonballers fans went down there. Hopefully the same going to Virginia.
Yeah.
What has this meant for you? What do you think this has meant for Kannapolis as well? Because you know how passionate these fans are.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't really know how to put it into words, to be honest. I mean, just being a part of the journey from where we were in 2021 to being to where we are now, just 3 years later, it's been an incredible turnaround, and obviously it's a credit to the White Sox. Our big league team is really struggling right now, but if you look at our minor league system, there's talent running through the system.
There's a lot of hope.
A lot of hope
down here.
Sean Burke just got his first dub.
Fraser
Brian
Ellard's
Ramos
up there. Brian Ramos. It's just Brooks Baldwin's been up there for a while now. It's just Tim Elko's knocking on the door. We have so many guys that are starting to get to that point, and it's so exciting to see. But just specifically being in this playoff environment, I mean, me personally, I've never had a true taste of playoff baseball, especially in professional ball. We haven't been fortunate to have those opportunities the last few years. And so to be here now and to be in this moment with these guys and this staff in this ballpark, in this city, it's really just so special. The other night, on Friday when we beat Charleston to win the division, I was standing there, just out there at first base, in that last inning after we had tied it with AMAC on second and TJ at the plate. And I started to get emotional a little bit before it even happened, just because I just had this feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's coming, and it's coming right now in front of this crowd. The fans are so passionate, and their support is felt always. I mean, just the highs and the lows of what this franchise has been so far to this point, and to be here and to win that game on Friday in front of the home crowd to send us to the championship. And I know yesterday was a tough one, but I feel like this team is just built to make it happen when our backs are up against the wall.
Yeah.
And it's just the type of team we have. It's the mentality we have, and we don't shy away from it. We embrace it. And I feel like in order to be successful in those moments is what you have to do. You just have to embrace it.
Yeah.
And it's been really special. And I mean, this period of time over this last week has been a week to remember. I'll never forget it. And it's been truly, truly special. And I'm very honored and lucky to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fans in Kannapolis that feel the same way.
Yeah.
Just seeing the atmosphere in the stadium, even with a loss last night.
Yeah. Oh, it was incredible.
The atmosphere, just people going
on a 1 day notice, basically. Hey, we're actually playing championship game. 4,000 show up.
Yeah, and it really, even I would say as far as like butts in the seats, people watching the game was more full than a July 4th.
It's what it felt like.
In the sense of, because July 4th, people are up walking around. There's not a ton of people sitting in the seats actually watching the game. And you look at our, like, in the actual seats last night, they were full.
And people weren't leaving to go, although it did rain the last little bit. And I was like,
dude.
I was almost going to yell, what is it, from Braveheart? He's like, no, do not leave. Stay and fight for that. Like, I almost jumped on the microphone, and I was going to, like, pause the game. I was like, I was going to go to the home plate umpire, Michael Cross, like, hey, I have to make an announcement real quick. Don't leave. But people were going to the concourse. I know probably a few hundred left, but that was it. But everyone was people weren't leaving their seats, like, during half innings.
Yep.
Mostly because there was no beer specials. They're like, hey, we got to stay in.
Dude, it was locked in, and even just like from the sense of you hear people cheering after strikes.
That was that's what I was trying to get people going. I was like, every strikeout.
And that's what I was going to say. You deserve a lot of credit, Trev, because I'll tell you what, your energy and your engagement and enthusiasm these last few games has just been off the charts. I mean, you're like that all the time, right? Through all,
But we raised it up a little bit.
But you've raised the bar and you said it, and it's been impressive. I mean, your energy has been contagious.
It was fun.
We feed off of that. I hope you know that.
That's awesome.
And it's cool because I enjoy how much you guys, I feel like even more part of the team now. Again, I know I have nothing to really do with what's on the field, but I feel more part of the team now than I did even whenever I was a radio and television guy. Although whenever you're a radio and television guy, you always feel like, oh yeah, like I know the boys' stories, but you really don't have that impact, and that's why I kind of did it, because I was like, man, there's so much going on right now that I feel like I could impact more of the community and the players or whatever that may be. And then whenever the playoffs hit, I was like, you know what, like, again, I don't know if this is my last year in K-Town. I hope it's not, but like we don't know what the future has in store.
Right.
And if it is, like I'm gonna go out with a bang and I'm gonna lose my voice. I literally told my wife, I said, babe, I love you. I said, but I don't want to be able to talk to you when I get home tonight at 11 o'clock. Like I want to be so hoarse. And it was cool, man. Like, just being a part of it all. But it all starts like at the beginning of the game, like dapping you up, dapping Pat up, even Charlie and like George Wilco coming over and like, hey, Trev, we're doing the Morgan Wallen walkout again. Hey, you getting us going again? I'm like,
that's fire, by the way.
Dude,
it was really cool.
That is electric.
That was it was Natalie Lanfer, as the assistant video producer upstairs. She had the idea a couple months ago. We never took it into action, and then Austin McIntyre goes, Trev, for playoffs. He goes, get me fired the freak up. And I was like, all right, let's do it, baby. So we went and did it, and then I was like, all right, we don't know how this is going to go. This is going to be so dumb. As soon as I did it, I was like, dude, I felt like a rock star. I was so nervous, dude. I was shaking.
Well, you pulled it off, too. Like, you had the swagger coming out of the locker room.
Oh, I watched many YouTube reels. It was crazy. I listened to that song, Broadway Girl, 600 times that day. From 7 a.m. on my run in my workout, I listened to it my entire workout for about an hour. And then I listened to it all day long. I probably listened to it over 200 times.
It's impressive.
And then, I was locked in, so I felt like Morgan Wallen coming out.
So you know every single word of that song now.
Yes, yeah. I don't know the rap version, but I don't really. I listen to a little bit of the rap version, and then I just go back to the. On my way here, I was jamming out to it. It's my new song.
That's
phenomenal. I tell you what, as we kind of wrap this up,
it's about time.
Daniel, man, we want to say thanks for hopping on. Thanks
absolutely.
Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. You're an honorary talking baller, man.
Yes, sir.
And dude, we have enjoyed having you in K-Town, and so thanks for what you do. Thanks for how you do it. I think that's a big thing that people don't realize. Like, it's the one thing to do what you do, but then how you do what you do is. And we say the same thing about, like, with Pat Leland, man. And so we appreciate you. And I know that there's a lot of folks in K-Town that's why the past couple of nights when we've been doing the All-Star lineups, I call him the original baller when I call you out.
I heard that, and I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I was telling my fiance last night, I was like, what did he say when he announced me? And I was like, something about, like, the OG baller or original. Yeah. She's like, yeah, he said original baller. I was like, man, that.
Yeah, dude.
I noticed that yesterday for the first time. I was like, Jordan, I love when Jordan. And he's just got a knack for these nicknames, and whenever you said that, it made my heart happy too. I was that was freaking cool.
That was
the
really
original
cool. That was
baller,
really cool,
dude. And what's cool has been like people react to those things. Like when I do that, they cheer louder, and then like when I do All Hail King George, bro, people just go nuts.
It makes him seem like he is like, I don't know, Aaron Judge.
I hope that it sticks when he gets to the White Sox.
Yeah.
Then they take it to the next level with like the King's Court or, the Royal Court or something like that out in right field for him. And they keep saying that every home run he hits is a proclamation.
Yeah, that's
like,
his big thing.
That's like
if he hits a home run, it says George's proclamation.
King George has made a proclamation in the first inning. You know what I mean? Like
again, it just all come to his mind, and he's even on the podcast with him. He like said a few things, and George's like, "You say these?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's awesome." He's like, "You just came up with that?" He's like, literally on the spot.
That's so good. That's so good.
It's been good, man.
Yeah. And then with AMAC, I call him Maction,
Maction,
yeah.
Maction.
And so it's so much fun to do that stuff, dude. And then I've been saying with Antonacci, I've been like, he's feeling good, because he walks out to feeling good.
Yeah, it's so
little Michael Bublé.
It's A+, man. It's A+.
That's a freaking phenomenal walkout.
It's so much. They give me so much like of a leash, bro, where I can just like have fun and do stuff like that. Like when I have done and do PA other places, it's not like that. They just want me to show up and read something off a piece of paper and be like on the spot. But in K-Town, it's so different because when Trevor said it, I was like, "Are you sure?" Like when he started saying like, "Hey, we want you to do this and do more of it," and I was like, "Okay."
Like sometimes on the sheet, so I write out Jordan's entire script.
Yeah,
and then sometimes I'll put like, "Jordan, you got this," or like say whatever, like have fun, or LOL, or like, and then and then sometimes I'll write a script and he'll say something completely different and just say a random joke, and then he'll make me laugh. Like,
dude, you got me the other night when Santa was up on there, and you were like finishing the little skit with him, and like just really quick, right before it was over, he's like, "See you on December 25th."
And then you cracked up, dude.
I couldn't even finish my next read.
And you just like, you're like, "Now to the plate, George, welcome."
I was laughing so hard, but I got him the other day during Teddy time. I was like, it's a good day.
Good day to be a human, bad day to be a bear. I died. I didn't talk for 10 seconds, dude. I just laughed in this kid's face. I think his name was Riker. His little kid's name. I laughed in Riker's face for 10 seconds.
But there's no, honestly, like, I've been to other minor league baseball stadiums. Their PA person does not communicate with their on-field person ever.
No.
And so it connects like the two things, which is what Trevor's vision was for it.
It's so cool that you guys do that.
And dude, and and with our relationship, it was already easy.
Right.
Like when he hired me, my initial like interview turned into like just a bro session for like an hour and a half.
I'm pretty sure you were there for 3 hours.
It had to be something like that.
We talked for 3. It was the first time we ever met.
In one of the suites, in one of the suites at the old stadium.
Yeah, it was bad.
That is so awesome.
If you want to call it a suite.
Yeah, it was not a suite. It was not sweet at all. But all right. But yes, I know we got to get you out of here. But dude, this has been so awesome. Real quick, you excited for Fredericksburg?
I'm fired up. These boys are ready to go.
Let's go.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, backers on the ropes. We're ready.
Rope and dope like Muhammad Ali, baby.
Hey,
take some punches.
Cannonballers fans, there's going to be watch parties tomorrow night, and when we win Tuesday night, on Wednesday night, there's going to be a watch party, both at Towel City Tavern. Our guy Randy's going to be over there making sure that everybody's like going to be taken care of, and I know that there's a whole crew going up Tuesday and spending the night, going to be there for Wednesday as well. But listen, if you want like all the updates, I'm going to be trying to watch the games myself on minor league TV. If you don't have it, I'm going to be trying to update on Twitter.
Let's go.
I know that our team's probably going to be doing the same thing, but tune into Talking Ballers, TALKN Ballers, at TALKN Ballers. Always log on to the Talking Ballers shop. Get yourself some merch at talkingballers.shop, TALKNballers.shop. And then also, if you want to be a sponsor of the Talking Ballers podcast, Cheerwine, hit us up. We haven't said that in a while, but this is the last episode for the season for us.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back around. We'll be back for some fun stuff in the off season as well. But it's been one heck of a season, bro. 22 episodes since April.
Yeah, been absolutely incredible. I'm proud of us for doing it. We got some awesome guests on throughout the entire year. We've done it at different locations. We did a live podcast. Yeah. We did our first video. So, a lot to come for it. Again, keep showing us the support, and we'll keep bringing the Talking Ballers podcast to you guys.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, we've been Talking Ballers. You've been awesome. We'll see you guys next season. And as always, let's go Ballers.